Hey, good morning to you. Mark Sutton with HurricaneTrack here. Wednesday now, the 16th of July, 2025. Main topic today, of course, is Invest Area 93L. Spoiler alert, folks. It's a hot mess. Really not going to be much to worry about in terms of wind or surge impacts. However, it is still going to be a big rainmaker, probably for our friends in Louisiana, where it is going to be very hot and steamy today. Yeah, you're going to get a lot of rain, especially in the southern part, closer to the Gulf. I'll show you all of that. And then we're going to take a look at the next couple of weeks via the GFS, and another spoiler alert for you. It looks like we're going to end the month of July on a pretty quiet note. So far, the hurricane season not producing much in the way of intense activity, but it has certainly been impactful, of course, with the remnants of Barry causing the tragic loss of life there in Texas. And then, of course, Chantal with the flooding in North Carolina. So we've had some severe impacts from very weak systems. So it just goes to show you never know what the season is going to give us. And we still certainly have a long way to go until things wrap up in November. So let's take a look at what we've got out there today. National Hurricane Center homepage. Still sitting at 40% chance of development here. Depression could still form over the extreme northern Gulf Coast area. This is what it looks like on satellite, and there's quite a bit of interesting stuff to show you here. I think you can see as clear as I can, that is the low-level center, what's left of it. It moved inland over here yesterday and has made its way up into southern Georgia now. So this is your low-level circulation. It's over land, so that's the end of that. Now, the main cluster of deep convection is sitting over the Gulf here to the southeast of the Louisiana coast, south of Alabama and Mississippi, and there are no signs of any low-level circulation in here that I can see. And, if the hurricane hunters needed to go out here, it wouldn't be that far at all to come out from Biloxi over here, Keesler Air Force Base, and go see what's happening. A little jog for them, no big deal, right? It doesn't work that way. They have to schedule these things, and it's all a big procedure. But pretty close to home for the hurricane hunters. But there's just not a sign of any low-level circulation. We can see that on the radar here. We'll let these frames load up. I really like this radar site. I've used it for many years. You can kind of see the address up here. This is from Dr. Mark Nissenbaum over at Florida State University. But look down here. You can see a little hint of the low-level circulation in here, and then just big blobs of showers and thunderstorms over the Gulf, but nothing really rotating. You don't see any telltale signs of a circulation, and that being the case, this is probably not going to have a chance to do much more than be a big rainmaker. But of course, we know that rain is an impact. This is interesting. I kind of chuckled at this when I first looked at it and I was getting everything ready for today's presentation. The intensity guidance, you don't often see it look like this, these charts. There's no hurricane categories in the automated chart making process here, like the way Dr. Cowan set this up. It's all automated. And normally you would see like tropical storm, Cat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. None of those are even on there because the intensity is going to go so far the other way, like 10 knots. You can ride a bicycle faster than the wind is going to be blowing with this thing. And some of the modeling later on is like a week out. Like, where's this going to be in a week? Getting it up to tropical storm strength, but like whatever. Point is, don't worry about this being a big wind maker, a big surge maker. Not going to happen. Might have a little bit of elevated water levels because the Mississippi Sound, parts of southeast Louisiana are very sensitive to even a little bit of onshore flow. But you guys that live down there, you're used to that, and that's not going to be a real big problem. The biggest problem, of course, is going to be rain, and we'll address that here in just a minute. So the track guidance, if it's even worth talking about, very tightly clustered along the extreme northern Gulf Coast here, pretty close to the southeast Louisiana area. Not quite into the Mississippi Sound, but you get the idea. It's not going to be able to come out far enough into the Gulf and then hook back. Not going to happen. Some of those icon global model runs that people were sharing, showing a Category 1 or 2 hurricane. Are you sharing those today? Because, yeah, look at what this is. It's not going to be a big deal in terms of wind and surge. Just want to keep emphasizing that. But it will be, more than likely, a big rainmaker, and as such, there is a moderate risk of flooding. Let's highlight it to where we can see it here on day 3. So coming up as we approach the weekend, our friends there in southern Louisiana could have a lot of very heavy rainfall. So the Atchafalaya River Basin, all through Acadiana, those areas, Rob Perillo's area, a good friend of ours down there at KATC, it's going to be wet and soggy and muggy, and the critters that live out there, they're going to love it, but us humans, not so much. So do keep that in mind. Seriously, I-10 comes through here. You got Highway 90. There could be some slow going on those roadways, and this could be a big problem. You had the big flooding in 2016 from a no-name system. You guys remember that, from Baton Rouge over to Lafayette. Don't take this lightly. You know how flooding can be, and that's going to be the big problem from our system here. So looking at the GFS out for the next couple of weeks, a couple things to point out. There's the low level of vorticity with our 93L, and you can see even on the GFS, it's inland, not even over the water. So yeah, we don't have to worry about it too much. A couple things meteorologically to point out. There's your Bermuda high, anchored pretty much near Bermuda, which is right there, and that is pumping deep tropical moisture from the Caribbean and the Gulf into the lower 48. That's why it's so muggy. The precipitable water values are so high because of that, and it's just interesting to point out. Now, eventually, this is going to move north enough as we get into August that the deep easterlies will set up through here, and any tropical activity that does emerge off of Africa would have a chance to be steered towards the islands or maybe eventually the lower 48, but we'll have to see about that. Kind of a weird signal going into August as to what will happen. We'll worry about that later, but over the next 2 weeks, let's just run this out. Not often that I could show you the full 384-hour run, without it being too sensational, right? Because anything after about a week, you usually don't worry about it. But look, this is pretty clear. No big areas of energy coming across the Atlantic. We're looking down here. Does anything come off of Africa that bundles up, that stands out? And the answer is no. Nothing at all, really. Trade winds, not too strong. Right towards the end of the run, though, August 1st, a couple pouches of energy, one there and one there, which is about exactly what you would expect. But again, that's 2 weeks away. Point is, I wanted to show you it's pretty darn quiet for the next couple of weeks, except for 93L. But we already covered all of that, and you are now, at least from my point of view, the stuff that I know, the stuff that I like to show you, you are nice and up to date. So again, just keep an eye on that rainfall down there. Maybe go out and get you some of those quick dams, and be ready to keep the water from coming in your structure, because inland freshwater flooding, of course, is very destructive, very problematic, it's very costly. And a lot of you folks that remember the 2016 floods, not saying this is going to do that again, but you certainly don't want to have to deal with that. So do whatever you can now to be ready for that. Again, that moderate risk down there, got to take that seriously. Rain is an impact. Sounds like somebody set off the fire alarm or something at my hotel here. Always interesting when you're on the road. All right, that is it from me. Have a good rest of your Wednesday. I'll talk to you again tomorrow. I'm Mark Sudduth for HurricaneTrack, and we'll do it all again tomorrow.